Hello, YouTube! Hey y'all, it's Alex. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be telling you just a little bit about me. I'm from an area called Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I currently live in College Station, Texas. So I just kind of wanted to tell y'all a little bit about how I ended up in College Station. So when I turned 18, the week of me turning 18, I actually got kicked out. Being kicked out as soon as you turn 18 and as soon as you graduate isn't exactly easy. And so being kicked out that young, I had to really fastly get my life together. I wasn't planning on going to school. I was actually planning on going in the military, and things kind of took a weird turn. I had nowhere to go, so I slept in my car a couple nights. I had to drive 3 hours to my grandma's house. That was fun. And I would drive up there at like 9 at night after I got off a shift at Outback where I was working at the time. I'd go to her house to sleep, and I'd wake up the next day and drive all the way back to Virginia because I had to work again, and I couldn't afford to lose my job. So I was driving back and forth, so I had a place to sleep, and it was super rough. I actually got kicked out, not because of something that I did, but me and my parents just didn't really see eye to eye, and we would argue a lot, and that just slowly led to me leaving / being kicked out. So in the midst of being kicked out and having nowhere to go and literally struggling for money and everything, my life completely fell apart. I went to this church called Mount Ararat in Virginia. And I had really, really good life group leaders. They're kind of like youth group leaders, and we'd go to their house after church, and they would make us food and just talk to us, and they were really close to us, kind of just like a second family and people that we knew we could go and talk to. They actually offered for me to stay with them because they had an extra room in their house, and it was only about 15 minutes from my work, so that actually ended up working out really well. I was, in my routine. I started to feel a little better, and I was just like, what am I going to do? So I actually got a phone call from one of my friends. He actually moved to College Station, Texas to go to Texas A&M, and I got a phone call from him, and he was just like, hey, I kind of need a roommate. I know you're kicked out. If you want to come live with me, you can. And I was just like, Texas. But I had never been to Texas. I was only taking his word for it. So he was saying that our town was beautiful and it had palm trees, and so I called his apartment complex and I started making arrangements, and I was just like, can you tell me the prices and any specials that you have going on? They were like, yeah, we have the special going on, and they told me the price, and they're like, but the special ends tonight at 6 o'clock, I think it was. My mouth dropped. I was like, 6 o'clock, because after that, the price went back up to the original price, and I could not afford the original price. Oh. I, of course, went into panic mode, like, what am I going to do? Like, tonight's the night. So I had all of my friends that I knew at the time come over to the people's house that I was staying at, and I kind of had all of them sit outside, and we were lined around a table, and I was at the end, and I just said, I got to talk to y'all about something. And none of them knew. None of them knew that I was planning on moving. They all knew I was kicked out, but none of them knew I was planning on leaving. So I was just like, so this is what's up. I got kicked out. Y'all know this. And I've been offered to move to Texas with our friend. They also knew who he was. And I was like, I could be his roommate. I could transfer Outbacks, and it could work. Or I can stay here and be unhappy like I am. I was kind of in a rut with my ex-boyfriend and his new baby mama, and I was like repeating the same cycle over and over, the same arguments with some of my friends and my parents, and I was just so unhappy, and I felt like the town was tainted almost. Like, I didn't want the negative vibes that my town literally gave off. I was just done with it. And if you've ever been to Fredericksburg, Virginia, Stafford, Virginia, Woodbridge, Virginia, or you're from there, you know that it's just, everyone hates it. Nobody wants to live there. They do, but nobody wants to live there. It's just like the kids are mean, and once you go to high school, you know everybody, and you know everybody at different schools, and once you know, and they know who you are, like, you can't ever change or grow because they know everything you've done, everything you've ever said, and it's just kind of sucks. It really does kind of suck. So I had all my friends sit down, and we run around in a circle, and I was just like, hey, I'm gonna move to Texas. I have to sign my lease by tonight. What do y'all think? And we went around in a circle, and of course everyone was like, Alex, you're crazy. You're not leaving. Like, you can't leave. You don't have any money. you're not leaving. Like, Texas, that's on the other side of the country. You're not leaving. And I got to the last person, and he's one of my closest friends. His name's Justin. And he just goes, hey, Alex, like, you can do this. Like, if anybody could do this, it would be you. You're crazy, and this is probably a terrible idea, but if you really put your mind to it, I know that you can do it. And that was enough for me. I was just like, okay, I'm gone. Like, let's load up my car. I'm ready to leave. So Lance, my other best friend, and Justin both bought a plane ticket back from Texas, and they drove down with me. I signed my lease after I read over it, and that was it. I was like, okay, I have a week, and I'm moving to Texas. Man, did that week fly by. I mean, fastest week of my life. I was scared to death to pack my crap up and move. My parents were mad at me for moving. They thought I was insane. Everyone I knew thought I was insane. And they were just like, what are you putting yourself into? And I was honestly like, I have no idea, but I'm gonna go find out. So I get to Texas, and I'm driving for miles and miles and miles. And I mean, I don't even see a city for miles. And my friend had told me how nice of a city it was, and I'm fine with farm, but like I'd like to have at least a mall near me or something like that. And so I'm driving, and I'm just like, there is nothing here. Like, he told me all of this stuff, and none of this is here. And so I got really, really nervous, and I was like, I don't know if I can live in the middle of nowhere for 4 years. Like, Texas A&M must really be in the middle of nowhere. So we finally, 19 hours later, we drove straight through. We didn't stop to sleep or anything. Drove straight through. We finally get to College Station, and I mean, we pull off the Highway 6 if you know where that's at, and there's palm trees and palm bushes and big skyscraper hotels and big apartment complexes, and there's malls, and there's every food chain you can think of. And I was just like, oh my gosh, and A&M is huge. I mean, when I say huge, I mean huge. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm driving to my apartment complex that he lives at, and I was just like astounded. It was so pretty, and the buildings are blue and pretty, and there's palm trees everywhere and green grass, and I was just like, there's no way I'm living here. The pool literally looks like a resort. Like, when I mean I'm in heaven, I'm in heaven. So I get here, and some things start going downhill already, and it's a bad sign when you've only been in your city or been in a situation for, I don't know, 5 minutes, and things already start going south. Like, that's a bad sign. So I was just like, maybe this isn't right. Like, maybe I should move home. Like, I'll turn around and drive home. And I was getting all worked up and anxious. But a sense of peace kind of came over me, and it was just like, you're gonna be okay. Like, just work through it. Like, life isn't easy. You're gonna be okay. Just work through it. And so I transferred Outbacks. It wasn't enough, so I got a new job at Chick-fil-A, and I was working 2 jobs, and I was really, really struggling. I bought a horse and 2 dogs. When you're struggling with money, my advice is not to buy a horse. Horses are the most expensive animal you can buy. A dog is definitely second. Cats are like the easiest thing. I don't know. I'm allergic to cats, so I can't have a cat, but cats are the easiest. And I was spending all of my money on them, and I wasn't even eating myself. Finally, I get a good job as a leasing agent at my apartment complex, so I didn't have to drive anywhere. I was able to quit Outback, and I started working less at Chick-fil-A. And I fell in love with my job, and I was making really good money. It was only $12 an hour, but I was getting commission, and when you're working 40 hours a week, that kind of adds up. And I got a discount on my rent. What could be more perfect than getting a discount and not having to drive anywhere? So everything worked out, and I made really good friends, and I found a good gym, and I started just getting in the groove of things, and like, I worked on myself so much to where I don't think I had smiled that many times in a 9-month period than I ever have in the last 10 years of my life. And so I decided to move back home for the summer. When I moved back, it was kind of to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I was super anxious and super nervous because all of my friends that I graduated with had already been in school for a year or already have a big girl and big boy job. So I was just kind of lost. Like, okay, I'm happy, but now what do I do? Like, with my happiness, what do I do? And so I moved back home, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply for FAFSA. I have to pay for school for myself, and I don't have the money for that, and I don't want to be in debt. So it was either go to school or go in the military. So I applied for FAFSA, and I actually got a lot more money than I thought I was going to get. And I was so ecstatic. I was like, look, like, I can move back to Texas now. Like, I can go back and I'll have money to go to school and I can still work and it'll all work out. And I'm actually going to Texas A&M. I'm studying criminal justice, what true happiness feels like. Like, I'm so satisfied with myself, and if I never would have moved or taken a chance, I would have just never known this feeling. I would still be unhappy and maybe in the military, or I don't even know where I would have been. I guess for my first YouTube video, I just kind of want to explain something to y'all. If you want something bad enough and you really, really like aspire to do it, you can do it. I don't know what this whole you can't do it, it's too hard. It's not too hard. If you dream it and you believe it, you can do it. I'm not saying pick your stuff up and move to Texas like I did. I don't have any regrets in life. And the only regrets that I do have and am going to have are what if. Like, I'm going to regret if I have to sit in my house one day and I'm just going through my thoughts and I'm like, what if I would have moved to Texas and I never did? That would be a regret. But things that I've done and the things that didn't work out, those aren't regrets, those are life lessons. What ifs are regrets. Don't live life with regrets. Don't question what if, just do it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Life still goes on. So that's kind of my little story for y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that's going to be in the description. Go ahead and follow me on that. There's going to be a lot of updates and some content on there as well. I do sing, so I'll probably be posting videos of that if you're interested. If not, don't even worry about it. But like and subscribe. I really wanted to do YouTube probably since I was like 7. I saw Justin Bieber on YouTube, and that's when I decided I want to sing on YouTube. Be happy and live your life to the fullest. That's the best advice I could give. For the rest of your summer, y'all. Bye.
Living at a mom's house, parents must be so proud.